Hi everyone, let me review the second unit of facts, that is objectives of series and shunt compensators. We have already completed that in the video. Now let me get some overview or review of that unit. So in the second unit we have understood the objectives of both series and shunt compensators in detail. Once again, let me review that. The basic philosophy of shunt compensation is it will improve the power factor of the system. It will supply the reactive power. It will control the reactive power, either it is lagging or leading. Thereby, it will improve the power flow as well as reactive power compensation. So, by improving the power factor of the system, we can control the reactive power, necessary reactive power of the system. Thereby it will control the voltage, terminal voltages. By controlling the terminal voltages and power factor, it will affect the various objectives such as transient stability improvement, voltage instability prevention, and power oscillation damping. These three are the common objectives of both series and shunt compensators. So in the shunt compensator, the active power, improved active power can be given by the equation which was explained in the previous video or previous videos. So that is when sending end voltage V1 equal to receiving end voltage V2. So that both are equal to V, same voltage. Therefore, active power, improved active power of the compensated system is given by 2V square by X sin delta by 2. Without compensation, that is V1 V2 by X sin delta. By increasing the V2, which is equal to V1, we have V1 is equal to V2, that is equal to V, so which will enhance the power angle curve of the system. By enhancing the power angle curve of the system, it will improve the transient stability margin, which is explained by equal area criterion, in which available margin have been improved. Whereas in series type compensators, the basic philosophy of the series compensation is it will modify the line reactance, thereby the power flow through the line can be modified as V1 V2 by X sin delta, where X is equal to, in the second case, X minus Xc, V1 V2 by X minus Xc into sin delta. It will impact directly in the power flow by affecting the denominator of the power angle equation or power flow equation, in which you have modified power angle curve, and the power angle, that is the power flow equation of the series compensator, is given as V square by 1 minus K into X sin delta. K is the degree of series compensation, so it may be less than or equal to 70% due to some drawbacks of the series compensators. So that is FR and SSR problems, which were already discussed in the last videos or previous videos. So therefore, the power angle of the series compensated line have been enhanced with a factor 1 by 1 minus k. When k is increased, the degree of series compensation is increased, then what happens? The power flow also increases 1 by 1 minus k. When k is more, 1 minus k is a lower value, less than 1. That 1 by very low value will give you the higher value. So therefore, series compensators will improve the transient stability by enhancing the power angle curve by 1 by 1 minus k times. So therefore, the difference between these two is determined by the same amount of or same capacity of the compensators. So what is the same capacity? The capacity of the compensator is determined by kVAR rating of the compensator. The kVAR rating of the compensator, generally it is the product of kVA rating. Like kVA rating is the product of voltage and current. Basically, shunt compensators are equivalent to current injection at the load buses, whereas series compensators are the equivalent voltage injection in series with the lines. Suppose small e is the voltage injected by the series compensator and capital I is the current flowing through the line, then the kVAR rating of the compensator is small e into capital I. Similarly, the current injected by the shunt compensator is small I. The voltage of the bus voltage is equal to V. So the capacity of the shunt compensator is capital V into small I. When both are equal, the capacity of the series compensator and capacity of the shunt compensator, when both are equal, then what happens? By comparing the power flow equations in both the cases, the series compensator is much more effective than the shunt compensator for the same capacity. So therefore, the effect of series compensator and transient stability improvement is much more effective than that of the shunt compensator. That is the first point. So in the transient stability improvement, when you compare shunt and series compensators, without compensator anyhow, when V1, V2 by X sin delta. So with compensation, shunt compensation, it is 2V square by X sin delta by 2. With series compensation, V square by 1 minus K into X into sin delta. These three are the power angle curves with shunt and series compensators. When compare both of them, the power flow equation, the series compensator is much more effective than that of the shunt compensator. The basic philosophy of the series compensation is direct. It is proportional to 1 by X. Therefore, by modifying the line reactance, by injecting some capacitive reactance in series with the line, can directly get the impact over shunt impact over transient stability improvement. That is the very first point. Coming to the second one. Second one is voltage stability enhancement. When you see the PV curves of the series compensator and shunt compensator, So we can discriminate both of them very easily. The basic philosophy of the shunt compensator is the power factor of the system can be modified by supporting with the necessary reactive power at the load end. By enhancing the power factor of the system, overall system, so when you have the power factor 0.8 lagging in both the cases, for series and shunt compensations, then what happens? It is oval shaped and it is nearer to your origin, and hence the critical value or critical point is dP by dV equal to 0. Therefore, the distance between the operating point and critical point is a lower value, and hence available margin for the voltage stability is lower. When you have the shunt compensator, so the power factor of the system is directly get impacted. So therefore, when it is increased to unity power factor, it is also oval shaped in the shunt compensation, and the voltage can be maintained at a constant value with different power factors with the shunt compensation. So therefore, the operating voltage can be maintained at a constant value irrespective of the load variations by changing the shunt compensation value with the FACS controllers. Therefore, shunt compensator affects the voltage stability by changing the power factor of the system. When the power factor of the system is increased from a lower value to a higher value and equal to unity power factor, then what happens? Naturally, the PV curve enhances and dP by dV criterion will be more. So at a higher voltage it will happen, and therefore the distance between the operating point and nose point will be enhanced. So that is the basic philosophy. By changing the power factor of the system, so we can change the voltage stability margin in case of shunt compensator. And the reactive power of the shunt compensator is given by 4 into V square by X into 1 minus cos delta is the reactive power supported by the shunt compensator. So whereas for series compensator, so we can draw the set of PV curves in terms of XC. When XC is equal to 0, that is external reactance is 0, so which considered only line reactance, it is corresponding to your 0.8 power factor lagging, the same as that of the previous one. When XC is more, that is degree of series compensation is increased to 50%, then what happens? So it will increase the PV curve away from the origin. So that is K is equal to 0.5, and hence in the denominator 1 minus K, that is 0.5. It will get doubled. The power will be doubled for the same voltage rating. Similarly, when the degree of series compensation is further increased to 0.75 or 75%, further the PV curve will get enhanced, and the criterion for the stability have been improved, and the distance between the operating point and the nose point have been increased, and hence the stability margins have been enhanced. So therefore, the difference between the series and shunt compensators, in the series compensation, sometimes we may not maintain the same voltage for different loading conditions, unlike in shunt compensators. So that is the peculiarity of the shunt compensator coming to the voltage control and voltage stability improvement. So therefore, for voltage stability control and voltage profile control, shunt compensator is much more effective than that of the series compensator of same rating. Lastly, we have to consider the power oscillation damping. So it was explained that the power oscillation damping is nothing but improving the dynamic stability or small signal stability of the power system. So the dynamic stability of the power system can be enhanced by providing the dynamic variation of the shunt and series compensation values. How it will be achieved? That is the major criterion for the series and shunt compensators to provide the power oscillation damping. So the basic difference between the transient stability as well as series transient stability and power oscillation damping, that is dynamic stability, is transient stability occurs when power system is subjected to some kind of faults, LG fault, three-phase fault, and large load disturbances, 50%, 75% variations. Whereas dynamic and small signal stability analysis related to small load perturbations like 1%, 2%, like that, up to 10%. Probably will take 10% variations. So when the power system is subjected to that kind of disturbances, what happens? The operating point of the power system changes. For example, initially it is operating at delta naught. So when load is increased, it is going to delta 1, similarly delta 2, and so on. For each load operating point, so we need to go for a stable equilibrium point within the specified time with a reduced oscillations, reduced peak overshoot, and fast time, that is fast settling times. So we have discussed that when the settling time is lower value, less than the critical clearing angle or clearing angle, then we can achieve the improvement in dynamic stability or small signal stability. So for both these conditions, either it is a shunt compensator or series compensator, the basic philosophy of the shunt compensator is that when power is increased, delta should be increased. So when you want to increase the power, so that means power demand have been increased. P delta, PD is increased, power demand. So P should be increased so that there should be power balance. Power balance equation, as you know, that sigma Pg equal to sigma Pd plus sigma PL. So where sigma PD is equal to active power demand, sigma PL is the active power losses, total summation of losses, sigma Pg is the active power generation, sigma PE or sigma Pg, whatever. When PE is increased, if you want to increase the power, and simultaneously delta also increases, that means when the system is subjected to power and delta oscillations, what happens when P is increasing, dP by dt increasing, d delta by dt is also increasing. In that sense, when P and delta are increased, then what happens? You need to provide the positive reactive power to the system, that is leading reactive power to the system. When P and delta both are decreasing, then what happens? You need to provide the negative reactive power, that is lagging power factor. So therefore, the shunt compensator good enough to change in sympathy with the system variations. There is a dynamic variations of the compensation, Q negative and Q positive. When P and delta is increasing, you provide the positive compensation. When P and delta are decreasing, you provide the negative compensation. so that the power has been increased and delta also increases, and shunt compensator provides the leading compensation. How it happens? What happens? When shunt compensator is connected to the system, what happens? The terminal voltages of the system have been increased. When terminal voltage have been increased, what happens? The P also increases, V1, V2 by X. So V2 have been increased and hence P also increases. Similarly, when negative reactive power is supplied and V2 have been decreased and P will be decreased. So therefore it will control the power oscillations or load angle variations quite effective by changing the shunt compensation in sympathy with the system variations. Whereas coming to the series compensation, the basic philosophy to provide the power oscillation damping in case of series compensation is when P and delta both are increasing, we will provide the series compensation. So that means we will provide some capacitance in series with the line. When P and delta decreases, we will not provide any compensation. That means the series compensator have been bypassed. So therefore, this is the basic difference between the shunt compensator and series compensation. By providing that positive compensation when P and delta is increased, and when you provide no compensation when P and delta decreases, then it leads to effective power oscillation damping. And hence series compensators and shunt compensator both are effective in providing the power oscillation damping and to improve the dynamic stability of the system or small signal stability of the system. In a nutshell, both are effective in improving dynamic stability or power oscillation damping. So in addition to power oscillation damping, we can also provide the subsynchronous resonance damping to the subsynchronous resonance oscillations. So thank you very much.